Welcome to the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel. I'm your host, an Untitled Anarchist Seagull called Elise. There we are. Gonna play a little bit of Geoguessr and then roast some reactionary fucks once I find my background music. There we go. Gonna drop the link into chat for anyone who wants to join in on this same map. There we are. Alright. Fairly rural looking. Right side driving. Looks like there's probably something more over to this side. And we're in Russia. Bogatysheva, Zaraysk, Syria, Prudy. No idea where any of those places are, but apparently they're nearby. Now this looks like a turnoff. But it's a turnoff to fuck all, so I'm... Oh, hang on, what's this? An Orthodox cross and sort of a triangle. Gashira. Another place I've never heard of. Let's see where we end up. Bogatysheva. Козякова. Никогда не услышала. This could be bloody anywhere, although it feels like the steppe. Doesn't feel like we're too far east. Oh, very flat. Серебряные пруды. Зарайск. Zaraysk. Rai is paradise. Za is like, well, it can mean various things, but among other things it can mean behind. City beyond paradise? I don't know. Never heard of it. Okay. Грязь. Новомосковск. Hello, Phoenix. Welcome. You are early. You want to join in the game? Here's the link. We're someplace in Russia. Beyond that, no clue. It's flat and it's full of agriculture. But that's like most of Russia. For Bogatysheva or Serebrяные пруды. Towns I've never heard of. Партизанский, Горачевка, Инзелька, Шарлык, Ермолаева. Okay, I'm just gonna guess. This is gonna be 891 kilometers, considering that it's Russia and I had very little to go on. That's not terrible. How are you doing, Phoenix? Okay, this immediately feels like Australia somehow. Australia or North America is also possible. It could be Southern California. Oh, that sounds nice. I had a really good stream over at Hyperpolyglotting this afternoon, and then I baked bread, and the bread came out well, so it's a pretty good day. Okay. Oh, we're in the US. We're definitely not in Australia. A Zenith TV warehouse. Roscoe Hazard. City of San Diego, North. Is that actually, does it say San Diego? It's kind of hard to be entirely certain. But I think so. Well, easy enough to find out whether there's a North Park and a Roscoe Hazard Bridge. Yeah, I had a little bit of dough left over from the pizza that I made the other night, and I didn't feel like making pizza out of it, so I just popped it in a loaf pan, let it rise for a couple of hours, and then threw it in the oven. It came out really well. Okay. This should give me a... Aww. Yes, I remember you telling me that about your son. El Cajon Boulevard. Okay, yeah, I do think we're in San Diego then. Yeah, okay. Rancho San Diego, Hillsdale. Where did your son sit during the visit? Normal Heights. Great name. Hey Shakespeare, how you doing? If you want to join in the game, here's the link. I had a cat a while ago. Every time I had my girlfriend at the time over, and we were together on the couch, he would climb up on me, no matter what position I was in, no matter how unstable, and just plant himself on top of me as if to claim me. Oh, I'm not bad. Okay. Okay. 热买中冷水. Okay. I have a feeling we're in Taiwan. Go Nanshi. Yeah, this is traditional characters. Tainan. Yeah, I believe we're in Taiwan. Ah, Kaohsiung. Okay, there we are. Kaohsiung. Kaohsiung 市者高速公路台南错容鸟松错印 OK 这是什么 Don't see actually a name of the street, but I know it's approximately where it is. Oh yeah, it's a fun game. Okay, 8.3 kilometers, not too bad. 4 of 5, and this feels like North America. That guardrail feels US. Okay, so far it's checking out. Feel like we're about to merge. Yeah, we're in the US. This is a US interstate, and we're currently on the way to...
Burger King.
Okay, so... what are we gonna find out now? Johnson Lane, exit 455. That is really not particularly informative, actually. There's tons of shit called Johnson Lane. Lockwood. Dairy Queen. Okay, and we've entered an area of outstanding naturally low resolution. This color correction is looking good. I'm not as washed out as I usually look on stream. Okay, Bismarck and Sheridan, 94 and 90 meet. That sounds like we're in North Dakota. '94. And what was the other? 94 and 90. So where's I-90 in all this? That is just... Does it say what direction we're going in? This is headed east. So we're to the west of Bismarck. 1994. We're by Billings, Montana. 9.5 kilometers, 4968. Not a bad start at all. This feels like Britain. It isn't. Zofingen-Spital. Okay, that is either Austria or Switzerland. You don't really hear about Spital in... Basel. Okay, yeah, Switzerland. Bundesstraße 2. Mutenz, Pratteln, Münchenstein. Where are these other places that we were just looking at? Mühletal. Even the paid accounts actually are not really expensive. It's only like $1 a month or something. Pratteln, Frankendorf, Liestal, Lausen, Sissach, Diepflingen, Rönenburg. Hello, Ludlow. We were just in Montana. $18 kilometers. 22,593. Not too bad, apart from the one in Russia, but Russia's hard. Shall we play another, or shall we get into the roasting? Billings, where 94 meets I-90. I mean, it's fairly early. We could play another round of Geoguessr, or we could get into the roasting. Oh, wow. Well, I forgot I would have waved to her if I'd known. I really need to arrange a more ergonomic seating arrangement at some point. Okay, let's do it then. Play again. Challenge. Here's the link for anyone who wants to join in. Oh, we're in Britain. I think I even know where. I think this is Salisbury. This looks... no. Okay, no. Maybe not. But it looks really familiar to me. Holland and Barrett. Edinburgh Woolen Mill, you can't really be thrown by, because that's actually a chain. There are Edinburgh Woolen Mills all over the place. Marketplace North. Superdrug. This feels like Salisbury. Speaking of which, did you notice that there's a Xanderhole video where he's like, I'm done with shoe on head? It's like, how is anyone with any sense not already long since done with shoe on fucking head? Yorkshire Building Society. HSBC. Kirkby, Malzard, Grewelthorpe, A61. Spa Town on the A61. So, yeah, okay, A614. Yeah, I know. Like, anyone with any fucking sense knew that she was shit. $8.59, A661. Grewelthorpe. Kirkby, Malzard, Thirsk, Masham, Leyburn. Oh yeah, which should be all we need to know about him too, because if that's the standard he holds others to, we shouldn't be too surprised if it's also the standard he holds himself to. Which, spoiler alert, it is. Clit Hero. Oh, Menwith Hill. That is, where the NSA has a major surveillance base in Yorkshire. One of the more hilarious, things that Mark Thomas did is he looked at the flight restrictions over the U.S. surveillance base at Menwith Hill, realized that there was no rule against flying a hot air balloon over it. You could at any height. There were only rules about planes and helicopters and things. So he actually hired a hot air balloon and flew it over the NSA site. Filmed the whole thing for his show. Amsterley. Penrith. Cockermouth. Grisdale. Oxenholme. Dent. Here we go. Here's the A61. Thirsk, Ripon, Skipton. Okay, this is where Bill Bryson lives these days. Yeah, we're in the city center of Thirsk. That's gotta be it. "16 kilometers. No, it wasn't Thirsk. It was Ripon. Okay, nowhere near Salisbury. Totally different place, but looked a lot like it. Okay. This feels like it could be someplace in Asia. Yeah, well, especially with the signings in Chinese. Yeah, it looks like we may be back in Taiwan. Yeah. Why? What did I have not paid attention to her in so long? What exactly did she do that are causing these people to? That's causing these people to jump ship now. Okay. Yeah, definitely in Taiwan, but I don't see a place name. Just the Department of Waterways and Aquaculture is responsible for the work that's being done. Oh, hold on. Kaohsiung, we're back in Kaohsiung again. We were just in Kaohsiung. 切地确定签证 she's doing then there yeah, I mean then there's absolutely no fucking there's absolutely no doubt. How long's she been doing that they've been trying to defend? That's I mean, then you're just literally inciting fucking murder. You can't even pretend with that.确定大赦 Oh, yeah. I mean, oh, fucking hell. That is... I mean, that's just absolute... There's no excuse for that bullshit. I mean, even less excuse for it than a lot of the other shit that these people do. 50 kilometers. It's actually closer to Tainan, apparently. And here we are. 2 carriageways straddling a narrow gauge railway. Yield, it says. Okay, so we're probably in the US here. In Canada, the yield signs are blank, since there's not enough space to put both languages in. So they trust that people can identify triangles. Okay, AutoZone. Wait, what was that? Is that Duluth? The Museum of Military History is now axe throwing? Wait, look at this. Her video bashing queer kid stuff is 5 years old and is still up on her channel, and that little doofus Xanderhole and his macro me Vush still defended her, says Phoenix. Yeah, that... I mean, that... There's just absolutely no way you can defend... That's just indefensible. I mean, the act of defending it is itself indefensible. He's like, what was their defense? That she didn't know that she was, like... just targeting these kids for abuse and, you know, putting a target on the backs of very vulnerable people. Like, did she pretend she was that with her their argument? Yeah, yeah. Well, now it's knife throwing apparently, which harkens back to the era of military history when they invented stabbing people. Okay, we're in Georgia. I didn't entirely realize that Queer Kid Stuff was a channel until you abbreviated it. Okay, we're looking for Georgia 53 and US 27. I mean, I can think of worse things to take up looking when you look around. I mean, she's better now, even though she never changed her apology. So, well, okay, so at least he's holding her to the same standard he holds himself to, which is to say none. 27 and 53. There's 29. $27. That was what it was. Yep, 27 and 53. Leslie Jones, as in she was in Ghostbusters, right? Oh yeah, so she's just a piece of shit. I mean, it says everything that he would actually stake his credibility on defending somebody like that. Bib City, home of lettuce. Uh, 27 and 53 is the one we're looking for. And 53 is an east-west. That's 54. Roopville. Oh, God. You know, with dedicated anti-fascist comrades like that, you just... Yeah, I mean, when I hear that, it's just like, okay. Oh, Etowah Park. Okay, I know where we are. There's 2753. Dean's Collision Center. Schottenkirk Nissan. In one of the interminable Atlanta satellite towns. Northeast Rome. My thing is, if you're actually not as bad of a person as you used to be, stop bitching about people who don't forgive you and actually act like you're a better person. Yeah, exactly, Phoenix. I mean, that's what I've thought the whole time. Like, to me, I mean, whenever I hear somebody going, oh, you can't just hold it, of course, they're ex-Nazis, they're trying to be better, you can't hold this stuff against them. It's like, but because you don't want to scare them off, and it's like, no, actually, it's not how that works. Because if they're really ex, if they actually understand why what they previously were, what they previously did was so fucked up. It will not scare them off to have it pointed out how fucked up it is, because they themselves will be personally ashamed of it. I mean, if somebody has to actually point out to them that it's fucked up, and they get offended by that, that means they're not really X. That means that they just, are looking for Sri Lanka. We're in Sri Lanka someplace. They're just looking for a ticket out of criticism. Yeah. Okay, this could be a lot of places. This could be southwestern US, this could be Chile, this could be possibly some parts of southern Africa, Australia. San Juan County, 8870. Okay, we're in the US. Oh, need to adjust before I get a dead leg. Yeah, definitely in the US. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's not even holding grudges when you just acknowledge that somebody has done seriously fucked up shit in the past and has not really given you a clear indication that they wouldn't do it again. I mean, that's just common sense. That's just having some sort of that's just having some kind of personal and emotional self-defense system that says, you know, that you weren't fucking born yesterday. This Four Corners region. Okay. That's around here? Ah, I guess so, because there's a Four Corners monument. This is a spot that exists, that is commemorated, I'm sure, in many, many law school exams involving things happening that somehow managed to touch all four states, even though it's just one single act. So, okay. Can't really go too far wrong by just saying someplace around the Four Corners, I guess. I just saw something that said San Juan. It's like, it was a 4-digit number. Oh, hang on. $88.70. Those signs look familiar to you, Ludlow? My aunt and my mother jumped down my throat because I dared to continue to be angry with my father because the things he did as a child and even a younger adult. Yeah, I mean, that sucks too. I mean, that stuff takes time. I mean, it takes time to actually get over that, and it also, to some extent, often takes some action on the part of the person who gave you that shit to get over in the first place. Ah, okay, so probably Navajo? I mean, yeah, though actually there are a bunch of reses around here. Say around here someplace. 109 kilometers. It's in White Rock. Off-res trust land. Okay. So yesterday we found out that Dugan is totally not problematic because there's one unidentified Chinese person who has insists is some kind of a scholar and he likes him. Yeah, I mean, to me, any kind of second chance, any kind of redemption, how what the attitude towards the victims is kind of a very telling indicator of what they actually think. Okay. We've got a bunch of Has shit. Although I wouldn't mind taking a break from Has. We've got Xanderhole on Trump announcing his 2024 run for president. We've got Caleb Maupin on Putin is a friend of the global communist movement. We got Vosh on Dems win bigly. We've also got 1950s US propaganda. Yeah, a break from Has. There's also time to finally talk about what happened. The video in which Caleb Maupin manages to explain how he's actually the real victim, not only of the fact that he was running the CPI as some sort of fucked up sex cult, but also the real victim of the attack on Darya Dugina in Russia. So that's an option. And we've got these 1950s propaganda films like Operation Abolition, the story of communism. Oh, Xanderhole? Okay. Actually, let's see. Let me just see what else we've got. Okay. Why I'm burning the shoe on head bridge. That's topical. See that? I can slide. Okay, let's get that audio where I need it.
Burger King.
And
this
get the crop where I need it. Oh, the crop's not bad, actually. Well, maybe sip in a little bit more. Okay, so this is Xanderhole on why he has belatedly decided to burn the shoe on head bridge. I hope shoe on head's on it. I don't think so, though.
Well, alright, here we go. The time has come for me to talk about the shoe drama. I made you guys wait.
The shoe drama. Now, if I understand Phoenix Rising 87 correctly, well, the shoe drama is the fact that Shoe on Head has been basically providing the propaganda cover to carry out massacres like that shit at Club Q. So obviously it's just a funny thing. It's just some drama.
A little while. I did an extra segment before this just to edge you guys a little. I edged you for
This guy-
discipline before talking about the drama. I don't even know where to start here. I guess I'll give a little bit of background.
How about a mea culpa? I mean, that would be a thing to start with. I mean, God, he doesn't like none of this is serious to him.
Right? If you've watched me for any amount of time, you guys should know that me and Shuanhead have been pretty decent friends, at least.
Okay, and this is something that you admit to freely in public?
Internet acquaintances, I would say, for like a few years now. And many times I have made videos coming out in support of Shuanhead in the midst of drama.
In the midst of drama, like all sorts of queer-phobic shit that is actually inciting violence against LGBT people.
In the vast majority of those dramas, it is like Shuanhead tweeted something that was an edgy joke, that was very clearly a joke, and people who already are known to hate Shu decide to jump on it as like, see, and it's like, okay.
Okay, but can you give us an example of an edgy joke? Some cute lesbian is being deprived of a good flannel, says Phoenix. Indeed, indeed.
It's clearly a joke, though. Like, you're literally the fun police. You're
well, if it's so clearly a joke coming from a far right shithead like fucking shit on head, then why didn't you give us an example so that we can all see how totally unreasonable these people were? An example,
literally
please.
Being the fun police.
You gotta give us an example.
I've got a lot of videos in which I go back and I dunk on like the fun police going after Shu.
Yeah, I mean the fun police. How can you deny her fun? She's just, inciting murderous violence against a vulnerable, marginalized community that's already under massive attack.
Videos where I go back and I dunk on people that have tried to take things that Shu has said or done out of context to try to twist it into ways that just seem very unfair or uncharitable.
Okay, but he's burning the Shuanhead Bridge. Not that means that maybe he was wrong about all those other times when he made excuses for her.
And most commonly, overwhelmingly, I have been put into a position where I have been...
Oh, he's the victim, you see.
At least I have felt like I have been obligated to defend my friendship with Shu.
Well, no, you were obligated not to have one, because your whole thing, dude, your whole, unique selling point is that you're the ex-Nazi. Now, part of being an ex-Nazi as opposed to just a fucking Nazi is you're not still friend with fucking Nazis.
If you followed Shu, or just the internet political community for any amount of time, you'll know she's got a pretty edgy history.
Yeah, I mean, it's high level. She's got her power levels over 7,000. Some of her views might be a little old-timey.
You see, I watched Shuanhead for the first time when I was like 16, 17 years old.
Jesus Christ. Okay, now I feel old on top of everything else.
And she did play a part, her content did play a part.
Neither of these motherfuckers existed when I was 16, 17 years old.
Moving me towards the right-wing anti-SJW community that would eventually radicalize me into being a chud.
Oh, okay, so Shuanhead is the person who fash-pilled him, basically, and he has stayed friends with the person who lured him into fascism, which he supposedly has now repudiated. I was 16 in 1995.
Now, Shuanhead genuinely seems to regret the part that her content played in pushing a lot of left-wing people to the far right. And it did do that.
The question is, when I hear a lot of left-wing people, I immediately have to wonder what define left-wing, actually. Like, somehow I don't think we're talking about well, I was an anarcho-communist, and then I watched a shoe-on-head video, and, well, I mean, now I feel just compelled to make jokes about the number 1,488.
She did end up introducing a
Okay, thank you, Phoenix. Now I don't feel that old. I appreciate that. The fact that you were actually that at least one person in chat existed in 1995 at all. Yeah, I mean, imagine. Okay, I mean, I'm just trying to look at this in terms of the sincerity. Because, okay, let's say you get somebody suckers you into a cult, and you ultimately realize that that cult is horrible. That the ideas that cult is based on suck shit. That it made you a bad person just by being part of it. And you realize that, and you make what would normally be a pretty painful break, a pretty painful admission that you really fucked up, and that you trusted a lot of the wrong sort of people. Would you still be friends with the person who lured you into that shit? Years later? Like, what exactly does that tell me about anything?
lot of just centrist left-wing people to full-on neo-Nazi figures.
What is a centrist left-wing person? What the hell is a centrist left-wing person? Is that like you want to seize the means of production, except that you'd like to keep your own portfolio?
Figures and white nationalist figures and their politics through her association. Is that something she should be punished for?
Yes.
No, I don't think so. I honestly...
Well, yeah, of course he doesn't think so, because he's talking about himself here. When he talks about fast shit, when he talks about people who have been involved with white nationalism and all that stuff, and supposedly are no longer involved in that, he's talking about himself. When he takes, like, we were one of the first Xander Hole videos we watched was him getting pissed off with Jesse Sobella, who's occasionally been in chat over here, talking about how, you know, ex-Nazis who want to be welcome in leftist spaces need to earn people's trust and show some sign that they're trying to make amends for the harm that they did. And he was totally dismissing that idea. He was really quite annoyed with that somebody would even suggest it, which is kind of interesting since it refers to a standard that he would have to hold himself to if he were serious about any of this. Yeah, I know what that's like.
honestly do think these were honest mistakes on her part.
Okay. Like, what, she was an accidental Nazi?
If you remember that time, I myself fell for a lot of the social propaganda that made even liberals feel as though the left had gone too far, and that the more...
Like, give us an example, please. I mean, this is so annoying. He wants to avoid accountability by being abstract about it.
regressive, insane party and political side in the culture war at the time was actually the left. It was very effective propaganda. It fooled a lot of people, even progressive people, like myself, and like Shu. Which is why I've always felt a need to defend my friendship with her. Because
Wait, I mean, he just called her progressive people? Honest, yeah. Was that like honest mistakes where you and Vosh decided to stand literal Nazi propaganda about Jews and banks?
Because wouldn't I be a hypocrite for like shitting on Shu's mistakes in the past when she seems to want to change, when I also believed a lot of the same shit in the past, even
and also don't want to be held accountable for any of it.
worse shit in some cases, and changed, and don't think that I should be morally judged for things that I once believed. Like I
Yeah, and that was the whole thing. Because he tries to talk about it as mistakes and, things that you once believed. when the thing is that if you believe that stuff, if you were involved in those circles, if you were spreading that shit, you were doing actual harm. You weren't just believing shit, you were doing shit. And that shit hurt people. And you gotta take responsibility for that, dude. That's just how that works. I mean, at least he admits it there. The reason he doesn't believe in holding fascists to any kind of a fucking standard is that he doesn't hold himself to a standard. So how could he? I mean, it's like the Nuremberg principles. The most absolutely just ridiculous thing in the Nuremberg trials was they had a rule. If the Nazis could get off of any charge if they proved that the Allies also did it. The underlying idea, it was very much, you could call it the Zanderhal doctrine, was that if you are going, the Allies weren't going to try themselves for war crimes. I mean, they committed some. They could have tried themselves for it if they wanted to be, to meet an elementary standard of seriousness. But they didn't. They weren't going to. And so they said it would be unfair to convict Nazis of shit that they themselves had demonstrably done and and were not going to be held in any way accountable for. And so you had situations like, that's why, for example, the Blitz, there was no accountability for the Blitz at Nuremberg, because the Allies did more bombing of cities, so you couldn't really, I mean, unless you were going to charge everybody who did that, God forbid, then you just had to let the Nazis off for that one. I mean, that's his level. That's his level of a moral analysis here. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's called growth. You realize that you did a bunch of horrible cringe shit. Hopefully nothing too bad. Hopefully nothing like on the Xander Hall shit on head level. And you feel bad about it, and you try to do better. You realize why it's fucked up, and you try to, make amends and try to, improve and do better by the people who you were shitty to. I mean, believe me, I mean, I'm kept up by, like, cringe shit I said when I was, like, 8. That will keep me awake.
I'd be a complete hypocrite. Not only that, but I don't agree with that. And I stand by my past defenses of Schuonhead, insofar as that goes.
How far does that go, though?
However, for about the last 2 years...
2 years?
It feels like every time an LGBT-related holiday comes around, weirdly, Schuonhead would, like, stumble across some TikTok or
stumble across?
Vague, very buried, unknown about, like, tweet thread that supposedly shows some trans, like, pride event or a drag show that is, at least to most people, would definitely be seen as inappropriate to have kids at.
Once again, this is just so fucking maddening. Can he show a fucking example of a single thing that he's talking about? Because we have to, like, take his word here that most people would feel, like he apparently does, that whatever this event is would be inappropriate to have kids at. We don't know anything about the event. He hasn't told us anything about the event. He hasn't actually shown us anything about the event, and we have to take his word for it, and shit on Head's word for it, that this event actually happened and isn't being fucking taken out of context or distorted by fascists. I mean, and okay, and he says this has been going on for 2 years, and only now he's thinking of burning the
with
bridge.
Kids there.
That's really swift. That's swift accountability right there.
She would feature this, and most of the time, these stories, these images, all of this would literally have just not really gotten any attention. Most likely, not a lot of people would have seen it or anything. Schuonhead, though, would for some reason choose Pride Month or Trans Recognition Day or whatever. I forget.
Trans Recognition Day. Yeah. Have you already got your place settings picked out for Trans Recognition Day? The fuck is Trans Recognition Day? I think you're saying Trans Day of Remembrance, Zenderhole, could that be? And it's kind of funny that you would be stumbling over a holiday about murdered trans people, like overwhelmingly about murdered trans women, when you're talking about your relationship with somebody who has been encouraging people to murder trans people. Of course, he came out against Kink at Pride. I mean, Vosh said came out against that shit. So of course he was going to come. If Vosh says something, he will. Then Xanderhole will defend it to the hilt.
Forget what the exact name of it is. There's a lot of LGBT related holidays. She would choose these
There
holidays.
are not that many LGBT
as like
related
times
holidays
to start these discourses. Originally, it was Kink at Pride. We did it last year. Then we did
We did it.
Kink
Okay.
at Pride this year. This time around, when Sean had brought up a new Kink at Pride,
True.
kids at drag shows drama, it had some pretty dire consequences. You see, Sean had
Yeah, you mean it had some pretty dire consequences this one time that she was trying to incite murder against trans people? So okay. So you kind of give her the ones where, fortunately, there wasn't immediately a massacre?
wants to operate as far as Trans Day of Remembrance. Thank you.
Trans Recognition Day. Fuck you. I mean, and also, I like how he's acting like this is somehow a weird coincidence as opposed to her deliberately shitting on a day of remembrance for trans victims of violence, of the violence that she encourages. Like, I mean, that's like, I mean, having a Holocaust denial event on the anniversary of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising.
Seanhead wants to operate as though, wishes she could operate, as though her Twitter had no real effect.
Yeah, that is actually an impressively charitable read. Because clearly she's clearly connected. She has chat too. I bet she can read her chat too. I don't think I have some monopoly on that special chat reading technology. And she will probably know that the people that she attracts to her stream with this bullshit are the sort of people who might just open fire on a Trans Day of Remembrance event, feeling cute. I don't think she may pretend that she does not understand that what she says has consequences when she says it to these, disgusting people who populate her chat. But that's just a really convenient thing not to notice. Yeah.
At least had no real effect when she doesn't want it to. She wants to be able to tweet about.
Okay, touche. He admits that she's not being honest, but again, this has been apparently, according to him, this has been going on at least 2 years, and we're supposed to just act like this is like you can just belatedly say, yeah, okay, I'm washing my hands of this
about
now.
Some crazy weird shit, and for it not to reach bad people who would use it to do bad things.
I.e. her target audience.
Problem is, she is unwilling to take the action required in order to result in, to result in those outcomes not occurring, right?
God, he's so fucking vague when it's people he actually when it's fascists he likes. I mean, when he talks about Professor Flowers and he's talking about, and he's just repeating just straight up lies, then he will go in and be all graphic about the white genocide and shit that she supposedly is into, which is all a fucking lie, just to be very clear. But he doesn't stammer around, but now he's talking about somebody he calls a friend, somebody that people have been telling him for years is a horrible person he should not have ties with, especially since his whole fucking brand is that he's the guy who makes money by not being a Nazi anymore. And so she's kind of a weird friend to have as somebody who's supposedly not a Nazi anymore. But he's, oh yeah, the consequences of the event that occurred that might be eventuating. And it's like, well, you mean fucking queer people getting murdered. That's what you're talking about. Let's just be very clear about that. You're talking about queer people getting murdered.
Right? So, for example, she follows and allows to follow a lot of very far-right insane accounts, such as Libs of TikTok and...
Well, I was gonna say, she's coming up with these events out of nowhere? Well, that's kind of what Chaya Raichik, the estate agent formerly of Brooklyn, apparently she now claims to live in California. Check out the Washington Post article and some of the various threads that exist that actually identify her properly, because there are several Chaya Raichiks out there, and only one of them should be catching shit for that stuff.
She actively supports the replatforming of Alex Jones, for example.
Yeah, so she's fash, is what you're saying. She is unrepentant fash.
A lot of shit like that, right? That's the kind of stuff that I found progressively harder to defend as time goes on.
Well, why'd you find it easy to defend in the first place? Why'd you feel any need to defend it? The idea of your whole branding as the guy who used to be a Nazi and now isn't a Nazi is that you don't have to defend Nazi shit anymore, dude. That's the whole point. That's what people. That's what That's what you're marketing yourself as. The guy who used to defend Nazi shit and doesn't. So why are you saying how hard it is to defend it? I mean, you don't have to defend it. I agree. It's really hard to defend what these horrible, disgusting pieces of shit do in order to incite violence against marginalized people. It's very difficult to defend. So you know what I do? You know what I do, Zan? I don't fucking defend it. I don't try. Because it's indefensible, and I'm not a piece of shit, so I'm not going to defend piece of shit things.
Especially recently. And it all kind of came to a boiling point.
Hey, look at a little smile creeping across his face.
During the last big Kink at Pride drama. I'm going to go ahead and...
yeah, I like how he acts like these are things, the Kink at Pride drama, like it's just a thing that happened organically, as opposed to being very specifically a far-right attempt to try to associate any kind of queer visibility with some kind of pedo shit. And the idea of that is to create the moral justification for criminalizing queer, people being queer, and to treat, queer people who are identifiably queer around kids as fucking sex offenders or some shit. That's what we're talking about. This isn't just some little drama, any more than the groomer bullshit is any kind of little drama. That is about creating a fucking genocidal climate, and that is progressing apace right now. And he's just feeling like after 2 years, it's getting a little bit too hard for him to defend this fucked up shit.
I'll read you an article.
Christ.
And I want you guys just to pay attention to it. I am now out of water, so God help my dry-ass throat while reading this out loud.
Gone. It's too bad you didn't inhale it.
Texas state representative announces he will file legislation banning drag shows in the presence of minors days after video emerged of Drag Your Kids to Pride event in Dallas. Texas Representative Brian Slayton...
Okay, so once again, this is about criminalizing trans people in public spaces, because these motherfuckers don't distinguish between drag artists and trans people. I mean, to the extent that a trans woman who was involved in taking down that piece of shit who shot up Club Q, the New York Times called her a fucking drag queen. I mean, so anything that is about banning drag in the presence of children is about banning trans people from being anywhere in the view of children.
Rep. R. Minola tweeted he plans to introduce legislation banning drag shows among minors during next year's legislative session. It's aimed at protecting kids from drag shows and other inappropriate displays. The announcement came after videos surfaced online showing children attending a drag show in Dallas this past weekend. Lawmakers would not be able to consider this proposal until they return for another legislative session, which is scheduled for January 10th, 2023. So we will see how that ends up going. However, here's the thing about that bill.
Okay. What's the thing?
And the guy pushing it, and what made him decide to do so. That
apart from being a piece of shit,
particular video went viral because of Shoe on Head.
Okay, so again, This is a good example of why this isn't just believing things you believe. It isn't about making mistakes. That is about doing real harm. That is, like, that will get people killed.
Just unequivocally, her tweet about it was the top of the first tweet that got any attention and any traction, and hers was the one that got the most attention and traction. So it was a pretty obvious example of...
So she's got blood on her hands, basically. But, I mean, he talks about it like it's just drama, because none of it personally affects him, and it's all being monetized.
Sean had an oopsie, and it resulted in a GOP politician...
An oopsie?
...being motivated
A
by
fucking
her actions
oopsie.
To institute anti-LGBT legislation. Shuan had...
In a state where there's already, like, just literally genocidal anti-LGBT legislation that has been passed. Like, there are already internal refugees as a result of the laws that we're talking about here. There are already families and people fleeing these fucking states because it's been made illegal for them to live. And none of this, there's really no sign. There's no fucking, when he talks about people criticizing, Vosh Senpai or something like that, there's some anger in it. When there are people who don't, who are defending actual fucking leftists who he doesn't like because he's not one, there's actual anger. When he's talking about this, it's a funny story he heard.
Seemed very upset about this after it happened. She apologized on Twitter, and I spoke to her very briefly.
Too fucking late.
She genuinely with a capital G seemed really upset about this.
Upset enough that she donated the profits that she made for the past week of anti-queer incitement to to funds, legal defense and relocation, and support funds for the LGBT people who are going to be victimized by the laws that she's providing the propaganda cover for. Or just she feels bad because she was so clearly linked to this one.
This seemed like the kind of mistake she would never want to repeat again. The kind of
mistake? Fuck you! What did she think was going to happen?
Thing that she would make her realize that her platform is more than just, her Twitter platform is more than just a fun little place to shitpost, but
yeah. A fun little place to shitpost. Like, how much of this shit needs... The level of fucking charity and generosity and willingness to manufacture doubt in order to give her the benefit of it, compared to when he's got, say, actual fucking leftists, say, for example, Professor Flowers. That's just, I keep bringing her up because it is just such an egregious example of the sort of thing that he does when it's somebody he actually doesn't like. And it's very telling to look at just why he doesn't like her. He doesn't like her because she's a black leftist woman, and she's against colonialism, and she's against imperialism, she's against white supremacy, and that makes him uncomfortable. And so he can bring the anger then. He brings the fucking righteous indignation then. But when he's talking about this, it's like, oh, well, she's just a 35-year-old. How's she supposed to know that that when you incite violence against people who are marginalized and already being targeted for violence, that will result in violence happening to them? I think I understood that when I was 5.
But Republican politicians follow her. Libs of TikTok follows her. Her tweets can literally...
Let's stop. Chaya Raichik, that's her fucking name.
Influence the perspective or act as ammunition for the entire Republican propaganda machine.
And it's worth noting when we talk about the Republican propaganda machine on this specific issue, there is polling now. It turns out the people who vote for Republicans don't give a shit about this stuff. They're not interested. It is not on their list of priorities at all. Yeah, I mean, the number of people who actually, who were going to vote Republican and actually said that, the existence of trans people and wanting to ban, best practices healthcare for trans kids and shit like that was why they were going to vote, was their, like, priority. It was virtually negligible. Hardly anyone. This is, as it is in Britain, it's important to note, this is a propaganda campaign in search of a base. I mean, it's just so telling when he brings the anger and when it's just all a joke to him. Like, this is still all a joke to him. You can still see there's this little grin that keeps creeping across his face. Because this is all just so funny. It's just, it's just drama.
She isn't smart, or is smart, about the way she tweets. Fast forward. This very same gay groomer, gotta protect the kids propaganda leads to a mass shooting.
Okay, and now we see why suddenly Xanderhole feels a sense of urgency, I think. I mean, because how could you ever guess that propaganda that is presenting LGBT people, especially trans people, as fucking child sexual abusers might possibly lead to trans people coming to harm? Like, how could you possibly imagine that that might happen? But wow, look at that! Lo and behold, it happened. I mean, in a country where mass shootings are unheard of. I mean, except for like a couple of times a week, and it's always Nazis.
In Colorado Springs, Colorado, at a nightclub a few days ago.
And not just at a nightclub. It is at what has been described by LGBT people from Colorado Springs as the only safe space in the whole town. And that is not an exaggeration, because Colorado Springs is the heartland, one of the major concentrations of far-right foundation money. You got your white supremacist foundation money, you got your fundamentalist Christian anti-LGBT foundation money, you got your Coors Foundation, all those fuckers. They're all based in and around Colorado Springs. It is like, it is just a fucking fash melting pot. And not only was it like not only was this done at what has been described by LGBT people in fucking Colorado Springs as the only safe space they've got there, it happened at a previously announced Trans Day of Remembrance event. I mean, so he murdered people at a memorial for murdered people. In some cases, it'll be the closest thing to a dignified funeral a lot of those people were getting, and he opened fire at that shit. And anyone who acts surprised that this kind of incitement would lead to that is really either they're not paying attention or they have a very clear interest in pretending not to understand a word, anything.
5 people were killed, and like 19 people were injured. It's pretty explicit. Like we don't know 110% yet what the motivations were, but
yeah, we fucking do. I mean, why do you think that a guy who is completely steeped in fucking fash culture decides to go after one of the premier fash targets on one of the fucking most sacred days on their calendar? I think the motivation's kind of clear.
All of the evidence points to pretty obvious motivations. Okay.
Okay, thank
15
fuck.
15 of the 19 injured were shot. Okay. So to be fair, like when something like that happens, people start like panicking and running, and like during shootings, and like people who get trampled or knocked into a wall or trip and hurt themselves during the shooting, that also counts as an injury from the shooting.
Yeah, and it should. I hope that he's not claiming that it shouldn't, because obviously it should count as an injury from the shooting, because those people wouldn't have to fucking run and get trampled if there wasn't a motherfucker shooting at them.
With that said, very horrible event. The very next day, Shuanhead goes on Twitter to tweet something that I unfortunately cannot show you because I am blocked. I have not blocked.
Oh, he is blocked. That's why he isn't burning the Shuon Head Bridge. Shuon Head is burning the Xanderhole Bridge. So he's trying to take credit for burning this bridge when she doesn't want anything to do with him.
Block Shuanhead, nor did I ever plan to block Shuanhead. I simply unfollowed her after calling out her what I viewed to be bad behavior.
Listen to how much he qualifies it. What I viewed to be bad behavior. It's like, can we just say that? I mean, it was fucking transphobic incitement. Can we just say it's fast shit? I mean, like hold an actual fucking fascist to a standard for once in your fucking life, Sanderhole. And I'm noticing we're only 9 minutes into this.
I would hope to see change, so I
10
can feel
minutes.
morally good about continuing to be friends with her publicly. But
And the emphasis on publicly.
basically, it was a incognito tab. Can someone link me the original tweet? Can you actually do that for me? I literally can't. I literally couldn't access. I have to open it in incognito.
I'm gonna just kind of go ahead and say content warning. I mean, I think it goes without saying, but
I like
if we're gonna
and
see
you
this
can't
fucking
search
tweet,
Twitter for users without being logged into Twitter. So like, you guys would have to link me the tweet for me to open incognito to even see it. No alt? Yeah, I have no Twitter alts. There it is. Thank you. Appreciate that kindly. Oh wait, I have to open it in incognito. I forgot. I criticized Shuanhead and I got fucking.
and now he's trying to take credit for just mildly criticizing
Yeah,
her
fucking
for
blocked.
what
Okay.
he says is
So-
bad behavior.
Shuanhead tweeted this, which on face value, is not really a big problem. Like there really is on its own with this tweet, not much of an issue. There is some mistakes in the tweet, like it is spreading a little bit of leading misinformation, conspiracy bait, but overall, the tweet itself doesn't contain too much of an issue. Let's take a look.
Okay.
The brand Balenciaga just did a interesting ... This is how it's quirky kind of humor. It's what Shuanhead does. Photo shoot
Yeah, this is quirky humor. They're like, fuck you,
for their
man.
new products recently, which included a very purposefully poorly hidden court document about virtual child porn. Normal stuff. So, Shuanhead has a history, by the way, of
Yeah, we know she has a
calling
history.
out weird pedo-y shit, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, so, I mean, this is him burning the Shuon Head Bridge shit. I wish that people took this approach to burning bridges with me.
Whether it be like the I wish that was me kind of shit you'll hear from like the average like sunglasses, MAGA hat, profile picture sitting in their truck conservatives on Twitter whenever they find out that like a 32-year-old like teacher raped a 13-year-old boy that was like her student. Like she'll respond to that and she'll call out like what she's.
Hey, look, a hypothetical teacher committing sexual assault gets a clearer read, fewer qualifications than fucking shit on head inciting against LGBT people.
Sees to be as like weird. She's called out like the crazy full-on fascist types. I'm not trying to claim she's some grifting right-wing pseudo-Nazi.
Yeah, but she is. You've very clearly made it clear that she is, and has been the entire time you've been friends with her.
Dog whistler. All right, I want to be
She
clear.
is,
Here.
though.
She,
That's
however,
what she is.
Is very conspiracy brained. and absolutely believes that pedophilic reptiles control the world.
Oh, yeah, okay, so that's literal Nazi shit.
And are grinding up babies into a fine red mist that they are inhaling in order to extend their life forces.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing that what he's leaving out is that those lizards are also supposed to be Jewish because it's Nazi shit. So he says, I mean, she's not like a grifting fast shitlord. She just believes a bunch of Nazi shit, like literal Nazi shit. Okay, this fucking guy. This is him burning the Shuan Head Bridge. First of all, he was never gonna block her. The only reason he's that there's a block between them is because she blocked him, and he's just sitting here still bending over backwards to say, "Oh no, not like she's fash or anything like that." Yeah, she's followed by all the top fash. She's fine with that, and she believes this bullshit about fucking shape shifting Jewish lizards. But not that she's fash or anything like that. Oh, and she makes a living doing it, not that she's grifting.
There is a reason why she likes Alex Jones. She is a conspiracy brain person.
She's fash. That's why people like Alex Jones.
She absolutely probably believes there's like demons controlling the world or some shit.
Yeah, demons. Yeah, I mean, and if you look into it, the demons are fucking Jewish because that's how this bullshit always works.
She's a little bit wild, the conspiracy shit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, she's just a little bit wild. She's like, just a little bit protocols of the Elder Society. You know, just a little bit proto. Yeah, just a little bit though. I mean, it's just sort of a cute thing she does. She believes that the world is controlled by fucking shape-shifting Jewish pedo lizards. But not that she's a Nazi or anything.
A little bit wild, the conspiracy shit. However, of all the
what do you think this is cute?
Conspiracy things that she could push, this isn't the most crazy. Is she wrong though? I don't know. That's the thing.
I didn't see. I mean, it looked like that fourth image was just sort of added, and it looked like a fake to me.
I'm just saying that's what I imagine she probably believes.
And isn't it interesting, as he points out, that it is apparently one of the first brands to drop Kanye West after he said all that anti-Semitic shit, and then all of a sudden, this, this cute little photo montage there appears to try to associate them with fucking child pornography.
And that's a realistic sort. I'm not even criticizing her there.
Yeah, why aren't you, though, is the thing. Why aren't you? You've just said a whole bunch of things that deserve criticism. She's using her platform to promote, fucking fascist propaganda. And you don't see any reason to criticize her? She's making a huge fucking living off of that. I would not have to be saying... I wouldn't have to be talking about, how, if you enjoy the stream, please consider paying for the stream even half so much. If I were making the kind of living off of what I'm doing here, that she makes off of Nazi shit, and he doesn't see any reason to criticize her for that. Like, what the fuck what is his problem even with her at this point? Norm dice, buenas Elis. A mí también me confunde lo que dice el tipo este. En fin, ¿piensas hacer más vídeos? ¿Comentando videos en español? Ah, sí, a lo mejor sí. Bueno, lo que hay que tener en cuenta es que este weón es un nazi picado a progre. Es un nazi picado a progre. No es más que eso. Es la única wea que es. Es un facho que se está ganando la vida dándose pinta de progre. Y ahora lo que pasa es que una de las nazis con que ha sido muy amigo durante muchos años, ahora, bueno, quiere distanciarse de él. Y además, bueno, lo que pasa es que incitó también una masacre de gente LGBT en Colorado Springs. Y ahora resulta que le da un poco de vergüenza, lo incomoda un poco eso de, bueno, ser tan amigo de una mierda de esa envergadura que incita asesinato de esa envergadura. Y ahora se está como distanciando, pero distanciando sin crítica, weón. Al final è un weón chanta. È un weón super chanta. Lo único que le importa es ganar plata con su propaganda facha. Y con su pinta de progre con manchas de mierda.
I'm not even criticizing her.
Why
The world
why aren't
might
you
be
though?
run by pedophilic Nazi reptile
It isn't pedophilic Nazi reptiles though. It's pedophilic Jew
demon
reptiles.
ghost lizards, okay? That might be true.
Fuck you. That might be true. Like, I mean, yeah. I mean, so it's like it's not so much that he. It's not just that you can't criticize ex-Nazis, according to Xandrel. He won't even criticize current ones.
I can't know that's not true. I'm just saying
I can know that. Anyone can know that's not true. It's just some bullshit Nazi made up.
that's probably what Shu believes.
I will
just to
know.
set like the ground here. Anyway, with that said, he tweets this.
This
And
fucking
it
guy.
includes a few images here. So we've got what appears to be a kid that does not want to be there. And believe me, that is the face of a kid that does not want to be there. There is not a single child
What, did they show her a picture of you?
on Earth that enjoys posing for photos. I know this because I'm 23 years old and I still hate posing for photos.
You make a living posing for shooting live streams.
I still hate it. I like take 2 or 3 pictures and let's move on. I know for a fact with any like professional photo shoot, they shoes on the couch too. They make you take a million fucking photos. That kid has been sitting there for 2 hours posing to take
Yeah, this is not the point. This is not the fucking point.
a million of the same photo. So that the most marginally
This is what
best
you're gonna
one,
be
I
fucking
guess, gets
talking
you.
about?
But that kid is bored as fuck and absolutely doesn't want to be there. Let's not even pretend that's not the case. But
That wasn't what
the
anyone was
the
interested
little
in.
bear in the photo you can see is wearing like a collar and like one of those strap harnesses and like a bow. Now, people have called this like kink BDSM gear. Yeah, it's definitely meant to be evocative of it, but
Yeah, see, I would need a closer look. See, he clearly, I mean, it's funny how he can manage not to notice fast dog whistles, but he can look at that, which you can't see the back of it. You can't really get a look at much of the design of it. It's not really clear what any of it is. But he's immediately leaping to that conclusion. He won't leap to the conclusion that that Shuon Head says fast shit because she's fast and wants people to believe fast shit. But he will leap to that fucking conclusion. That's what Jesus.
I think this is a fashion brand. I'm pretty sure this is like goth. Like, I'm pretty certain this is goth.
This isn't
like,
the fucking point.
Gear, like goth gear.
Who cares?
Isn't it? Like, this isn't literal BDSM gear they're advertising here in the photo, is it? Does anybody know? Like I'm actually curious if anybody knows Balenciaga. Is that how it's pronounced? If anybody knows their brand. Regardless, though.
Yeah, regardless.
It's just a weird image, right? Even if it's just some shock marketing of some goth, like, clothing, like goth, like, aesthetics that kind of look a little to be showing in an image with a kid.
For all we know, this is that kid's fucking teddy bear.
It's definitely weird. Here's another image where you've got like another goth.
And also, I mean, you can see this is another picture where the kid does not look happy, and the fucking photographers in these things. It's just worth noting, they're pretty good at getting somebody to smile, especially little kids to smile. And they have people who choose these pictures. If the kids are looking less than thrilled to be there, it is because that is the look they're going for.
They're calling it BDSM gear, but it's pretty clearly goth gear. Goth gear,
This is for who gives a shit.
And a bunch of stuff with a kid standing over it who does not want to be there, very clearly. And then this is the photo that has the court document. You got the zoom in on it, and then if you continue it down below, there's like...
It's a Supreme Court decision. It is literally a Supreme Court decision. You said 553 U.S. blank 2004. That isn't a court document. That is an opinion of the Supreme Court. That is, it says, see, if you look at the very top where my mouse cursor is, okay, so you have, this is the citation. 553, that is the volume of the U.S. reports. U.S. blank because it hasn't been collated into it. Of the court. The word that's missing is opinion. This is literally a Supreme Court judgment that has been printed out. This is supposed to look like a lawyer's desk. Oh, well, yeah, I can see where that's puzzling. And the trick to understanding how that works, Norm, is to understand that the man is totally full of shit. He is just completely full of shit. He doesn't believe a single... He doesn't take any of this seriously. It's all just a laugh and a source of income to him. Yeah, this is just a Supreme Court decision.
It's like a fully like viewed thing. So, what you would see here, if you read Shu's tweet as she presents it, is that this clothing company for rich people is presenting children posing with BDSM gear clad teddy bears, while also leaving tiny little clues that they're pedophiles trying to...
They're tiny little clues. You think that fucking nonces like to sit around, like they fucking get off on the opinions of the United States Supreme Court? Could you think for a second? Think for a second. Who might have... Notice this is a desk. This is a desk with a computer. There's a keyboard right there. There's a handbag. And then there's all these papers strewed about. Now, is there another group of people you can think of who might be printing out Supreme Court decisions and might also be in the income bracket for this brand, which is an expensive brand that I've never even fucking heard of? I see, because it occurs to me that maybe lawyers... Maybe they're trying to, like, immediately... first of all, even assuming... I mean, this might just be paper that they just printed out and they weren't actually planning on... And they didn't really care, because at the level of zoom that you're actually looking at, it's the bag you're looking at. But, I mean... A person who could afford this bag and would have a Supreme Court decision printed out, I mean, a lawyer, an entertainment lawyer, which seems to be the sort of target market.
Push pedophile, like child porn, in like the background for all of the internet sleuths to pick up on. That is unironically the message you're supposed to get from this tweet.
It's interesting how... Listen to how fucking hedging he was when he's talking about anything Shitonhead does. But then with this, where he has nothing but this image and this piece of paper from the first page of a Supreme Court decision, just sort of in a pile of random papers, in a picture that is supposed to focus on the fucking handbag. Yeah, he's absolutely certain what this says. What this is, the message this is meant to give. But he can't be totally sure what Shitonhead means by inciting violence against fucking LGBT people and promoting fucking Nazi conspiracy narratives about Jews being shape-shifting reptiles. And with that, it is time for us to say goodnight. I have to call it a night. People have to sleep around here, and this could go on for a very long time. But I think this is one that I might like to come back to. I haven't really... The other ones I've been kind of glad to get away from lately, but this one seems like one that might actually reward further examination. Just to say thank you, Phoenix, thank you, Ludlow, thank you, Shakespeare, thank you, Norm, for everybody who's been joining in chat. And if you enjoy the stream, please consider paying for the stream, either by a direct tip. You can use the tip command in chat. Actually, you probably can't, because you're on YouTube, all of you, so tip, I'll do it. Let me see if it works. Yeah, well, it works for me because I'm using the restream. or by subscribing to my other stream, which is already affiliate, or by giving a prime or cheering. Any kind of support for the stream is very much appreciated, and it helps me do more of this. Also, there's a Discord to join. Let me just give you that link. And where we can keep in touch in the middle, in between streams and things like that, and you can suggest ideas, and we can just talk about shit, anything that comes up, ideas for the next stream, and whatever else anyone thinks of. So have a good night. Thank you very much for joining me, and God, Xander Hall makes me want to eat my fist. Have a good night.